Welcome to Heretic History. Today, we strip away the Hollywood fantasy. What really happened in a medieval battle? Forget slow-motion duels and gleaming armor. Prepare for the visceral, chaotic truth. If you were an average soldier, the signal to attack was likely drowned out. The horn blower, positioned safely away from the carnage, a role with remarkably high survival rates, unlike the front ranks. In the opening seconds, chaos reigned. Muddy, uneven ground, far from parade fields, meant men stumbled, tripped over comrades, or fell face first. No heroic charge. You shuffled forward in a terrified mass, knees trembling after hours in formation. The man beside you reeked of garlic and fear, medieval dental hygiene being non-existent. Shouting was constant, less about battle cries, more about venting terror or masking the stench. Studies of combat stress suggest a high percentage of men emit involuntary sounds they later forget. Translated, most yells amounted to, "I want my mother. I regret everything." Then came the impact. A body slammed into your shield. Was the ringing in your ears from the blow or the headbutt? The noise was overwhelming, a cacophony of grunts, screams, and metal on metal, or flesh. Your arm vibrated violently from blocking. Within minutes, grand strategy vanished. Your sole objective, stay upright. Falling meant being trampled. The ground turned slick with blood and vomit. Your arms screamed under the shield's weight. The sun baked you inside your padded gambeson, medieval armor acting as a portable sauna. Your world shrank to the terrified eyes of the man opposite you. In that shared glance, you silently cursed whoever called this glorious. Survived the initial crush, and you faced the brutal scrum. Forget chivalrous duels. Real combat resembled a violent rugby maul. Ganging up, 5-on-1, wasn't poor sportsmanship, it was survival. Knights followed the "I want to live" code. The body crush left mere inches to maneuver weapons. Dramatic sword swings. Impossible. Most fights were frantic jabs, like poking someone on a packed train. Swords weren't the primary killers. Grave analysis reveals fatal wounds were often downward strikes to the skull or neck, inflicted on fallen men. Strategy meant kicking them while they were down. The pommel, the sword's end knob, became vital. Wielded in the Mordau or murder stroke, gripping the blade, and swinging the handle like a hammer. Helmets saved lives but were vision-limiting ovens. Internal temperatures could exceed 100 degrees F within 20 minutes, causing fatal heat exhaustion. Fall. You had seconds to rise before trampling boots, or probing weapons, found you. Excavations show men suffocated face down in inches of mud. Attacks came from all directions. 3 different threats a minute was common. Trampling and disorientation killed more than skill. The weapons weren't museum pieces. They were brutal tools designed to maim and break. Axes. Essentially modified wood choppers. Effective with minimal training. Swing hard. Let physics work. The flaw. They stuck fast in shields or bone. Many wielders died trying to wrench them free. A fatal inconvenience. Spears. The most common weapon, up to 70% of some armies. Cheap. Easy to make, offering crucial reach. Stab an enemy 6 feet away. The downside. In tight scrums, they were hazardous to allies. Records note numerous, friendly, spear pokes. Maces, the answer to plate armor. A heavy metal ball on a stick, designed to crush without piercing. Armor dented inward, shattering bones beneath. Favored by some religious knights under the debated notion, they didn't shed blood. Swords. Glamorous, but rare and expensive, costing a small house. Required skill, and broke often. Battlefield finds show repeated repairs. Snapping on first use. A costly disaster. Improvised weapons. Peasant armies used repurposed farm tools, flails, pitchforks, sharpened shovels, up to 20% in some battles. Surprisingly effective due to sheer unpredictability. Death by shovel. Final if ignoble. Armor wasn't invincibility. Chainmail might stop a slash, but an axe blow drove rings into flesh. Blunt force shattered bones beneath intact plate. Around 40% of armored casualties. Weapons tore and mangled. Limb loss often led to rapid blood loss, unconsciousness in minutes from losing to pints, death in under 5. Internal injuries from maces. Insidious. Ruptured organs, internal bleeding. Minor wounds festered lethally. Infection killed 3 soldiers for every battlefield death. No medics waited. Buddies used belts as tourniquets, or cauterized wounds with daggers. Field hospitals were grim triage tents. Tools. Unsterilized. Amputation. Common and quick. Survival rates, -30%. The mental trauma. Profound. The battlefield was a psychological nightmare. Within minutes, where am I? Constant movement and poor visibility caused disorientation. Study suggests 60% lost direction after the initial clash, explaining chaotic retreats. Friend or foe. Mud and blood obscured identifying marks. Records like Toten, 1461, suggest up to 10% casualties were friendly fire. Is this my blood? You were drenched, unable to tell. Some ignored grave wounds until collapsing. Decision paralysis, conscious thought faded. Muscle memory and primal instinct took over. Survivors often had no memory of specific actions, a dissociative state modern combat psychology terms. Battle mind. Fighters reacted to shapes and movement, not people. Time distorted. When the strain became unbearable, flight wasn't shameful, it was survival logic. About 40% of armies broke before peak combat. Peasants followed the "see my family again" principle. Once running started, panic spread. Men played dead, begged, or hid. One French survivor crawled inside a dead horse. Running in armor, exhausting and perilous, deserters could be cut down. Victory. If you were standing when the noise stopped, you won. Relief, not cheers, followed. Exhausted men sat silently. The aftermath. Practical. Wipe off blood, hopefully not yours. Check wounds, find friends. Scavenge weapons and armor from the dead. Medieval recycling at its grimmest. Celebration meant numbing pain and trauma with alcohol. Chroniclers noted days of continuous drinking to forget. Field hospitals overflowed. Mortality rates, 25–50%. Bruises emerged later. Sleep brought nightmares and phantom combat reflexes. The battlefield, often left to the elements, metal fragments surfacing centuries later. Hollywood's victory was just the start of a longer struggle against pain, loss, and the haunting knowledge of what men did to men. This was the brutal reality of medieval combat. If you crave history stripped of myth, subscribe to Heretic History. Uncover the past, one unvarnished truth at a time.